Ooh, go so with your badness. We know you not slackness. This a Rasta business. Ooh, run come give me the roots and culture. Chase them vulture. Ooh, go so with your badness. We know you not slackness. This a Rasta business. Ooh, run come give me the roots and culture. Ooh, go so with your badness. We know you not slackness. This a Rasta business. Ooh, run come give me the roots and culture. Chase them vulture. Ooh, go so with your badness. We know you not slackness. This a Rasta business. Ooh, run come give me the roots and culture. Bun vampire entire. Ooh, go so with your badness. We know you not slackness. This a Rasta business.
It's Basha. Give me. Alright. I love to feel your body when it's close to mine. When you and I become as one.
When the Rasta man them come together like the torch and the wicked catch a fire. Tell you what I want. When they get to you, them try fi better and the system try fi turn them in a shatter. Tell you what I want. One Babylon highly selassie rain down lightning and thunder. Tell you what I want. Tell you what I want. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Burning. Tell you what I want.
Stars among stars. We lights, camera, someone.
Carnival is a movie we filming in the festival. Yes. Carnival is a movie we filming in the bacchanal. Carnival is a movie we filming with the pretty girl. Carnival is a movie. This one is international.
Stars among stars. We lights, camera, someone.
Carnival is a movie we filming in the festival. Yes. Carnival is a movie we filming in the bacchanal. Carnival is a movie we filming with the pretty girl. Carnival is a movie. This one is international.
Greetings.
Good night, everyone.
Yes, sir.
How are you?
Good night.
Yep.
Up and
it's
running.
Up and running. It's you can't say the dynamic duo. We gotta say the dynamic trio.
Trio.
The trio, right? It's the dynamic trio right here on the
Any
conversation.
morning I
on
could say it duo.
dynamic duo, right?
Or double
Yeah.
impact, double trouble.
Double trouble, double impact, however you want to put it. But of course, good night, everyone. You're in tune to the conversation. It happens every Tuesday from around 7:30 ish to 8. We're talking about starting time because, of course, we all work and we get caught up a lot of the times with transportation and getting here on time so we can get started. But tonight, before we get into tonight's conversation, you know how we do before we kick it off the conversation, Sherwin? The disclaimer.
Okay, the disclaimer. The
Yes,
views, information, or opinion expressed during this program are solely those of the host, guests, and callers involved in the program and do not necessarily represent the views of Majestic Music Radio, its management, other hosts, or advertisers. Majestic Music Radio is not responsible and do not verify for accuracy of any of the information contained in this radio program. The program does not constitute medical or professional advice and is solely for for entertainment purpose only.
All
Mm-hmm.
right.
Once
But
that
of course,
part
as
is
we
done.
once that part is done, as we usually tell people, um, just go Google the information. Make your own personal check. If you believe that, well, something ain't sound too right to how we said it. You could go Google that, get that bit of information, and straighten it out. So tonight we're gonna be dealing with a little bit of politics. All right, and as we know, 2025 is around the corner, like in a hurry. Um,
Mm-hmm.
the ruling administration is doing a lot to ensure that their image looks a certain way. They're pushing development programs, especially infrastructural development programs, um, which, as I always say, is a plus for Guyana because it hasn't had a facelift for a long time. As a matter of fact, in my estimation, since colonialism. So now that we're having this new lift and stuff like that, we also have to think about, other things that may adversely affect our development and growth as we move. So, the politicians got to listen sometimes. Don't always judge or take everything based on their experience, but allow other people to, share ideas with them so that you could look at things from a different perspective, maybe than just looking at it from your um, unique political selling point, I should say.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, of course, I'll be giving a little bit of views. Um, trying to, from what I gathered from over in the U.S.,
Hmm.
just to get the conversation rolling of how a lot of mindsets is going out here, and of course, especially Malachi being on the ground. I mean, knowing a lot of things that's going on. So it's gonna be a good talk tonight, man. It's gonna be
Yeah.
definitely a good talk.
Yeah, we got to level up in terms of our politics. And
Yeah.
one of the things that, we as a grouping have been advocating for is for politicians to be accountable or held accountable, or there should be a level of standards that
Mm-hmm.
our leaders or politicians should be held to. So if you're not at that standard, then really and truly you're not up for that leadership position. So I don't know how, somebody could be classed as a leader and, you don't have certain leadership attributes, qualities, behavior, mannerisms, all of that. Because I think all of that is part of what makes you a leader.
Mhm.
Well, remember there's two leaders. One that's leading on the positive and righteous path, while the other one, just leading you down,
Just leading you
right?
down.
So
That's the right one. Just
leaders is
leading you
leaders
down.
at the end. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you gotta know, you gotta know as a follower who you're
Uh-huh.
paying attention to. Yes, right? Who
Mm-hmm.
you're paying attention to certain information because it's important, especially
Mm-hmm.
as a Guyanese, to understand where do we stand in
Mm-hmm.
the midst of everything,
Yeah.
right? Because as
Mm-hmm.
much as I would have said, or we would have said multiple times, well, we are the ones appointing these people, so we should have at least 90% of saying in how things are function, how it should be function, what we want, why we want it, where we want it, when we want it,
Well,
right? And if
one of
these
the
things
things
can't,
be done,
mhm,
then, this is one of the things we've been pointing out that, listen, we think that the government for the next election, I think and this is something I'm going to be talking about exponentially on every program that we have, which has to do with the
mhm,
creatives. I think that they need to understand that coming together and having one grouping will help, because what that does, because our politicians again don't understand just normal discourse, and we start developing stuff. They want, if you're not coming with a pressure point that you're going to make them pay attention to a particular issue that you're talking about, you're not going to get that particular issue in the window. So what we have to do as the creatives is to come together and create this mechanism that says, okay, what we will do is that our votes, if we come together as a grouping, is tantamount to 15,000, 20,000. All right. Now, those 20,000 votes you're talking about, there is 4 seats in parliament. All right. So,
Yep.
what the ultimatum really needs to be to any government that's going, or any political group that's running for government presently, is that one of the things they've got to come up with up front and let us know what their plans are is their manifesto. That's one of the first things they have to let us know about, because that manifesto will let us know in advance what their plans are, and if we agree with those plans, and if we want to support those plans to go forward. All right. So
Hmm.
we should be more proactive as creators and let those people know, listen, if we not let the politicians know, if we're not going to get protection for our work, if we're not going to get more education in the system so that we can develop our craft and then take it to the next levels where we can then take it outside of Guyana, then we would not be voting for you. All right. We'll be looking for the
Correct.
party that has the interest that I am looking out for at hand. And so far, we don't see the opposition bringing those um, particular issues to the table. Neither do we see the current government bringing that to the table, because one of the things about the press conference that Vice President Jagdeo had, he brought up the issue of the local content bill. And in the comment section, I put, so why doesn't the local content bill extend to IP laws? It's just about the oil and gas sector, when really that local content bill should be dealing with protectionist laws. I don't know if maybe he needs to have a sit down with Anil Nandala to have a particular look at that issue. But that issue is what is needed next for Guyana's growth. And we're talking about sectorial growth. We're not talking about infrastructure. Infrastructure is a given. That's laborers and concrete and cement. But we are talking about other facets of development, which would include IP. We're talking manufacturing. Um, we would need um, greater laws and provisions for patents and trademarks and all that kind of stuff, which has to deal with IP and intellectual property right. We also have to look at the issue of geographical markers. So as just this part of the conversation, I'm gonna be dealing with the whole issue of the creatives. I think that they need to come together instead of thinking of, okay, well, we're gonna come and form some grouping that will at some point be able to administrate the music industry in Guyana. What they need to understand is that having the mechanism, or deal having the politicians put the legislation in place, is what we need first. So in order to get them to do that, you got to pressure them where it matters, and where it matters is the 2025 elections.
The thing is like you said in the conversation,
Yeah.
you said the manifesto, and a lot of times we continuously know that promises are comfort to a fool, and
Correct.
we've seen manifestos upon manifestos in the past that did not or was not fulfilled.
Yeah.
All right. Now that we in this new realm of what Guyana is, or where
Mhm.
Guyana is, or where we've come to, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? The importance, like you say, is making sure that we protect all our creatives, protect
All our
all of
manufacturing.
everything that we have that's coming out of Guyana, because
Yeah.
we're attracting so much worldwide. that people are just coming in to just peep to see what's going on and what's the stir.
Yeah.
Um, it is even so much an interest of the Western world that even the security system is very much scrutinized
Hmm.
by especially the US just to make sure that we're on the right track in that type of way. But of course, same time, the US is encouraging us to
Hmm.
get involved and make sure that our IP laws is up to standard.
Hmm.
Now, you can't tell me that they're not aware or they're not informed, but I think it's just something that's being ignored. The problem is when you say about the sense of okay, how we should go and vote whenever we know for sure someone is putting up the right
Our
things
interests,
for the
our
future.
interests, the
Yeah, the
things that
people's
we
interest.
need as the creatives.
You see, the thing is that the ignorance that is around, a lot of people are least informed or even understand or even knowledgeable
Yeah.
about about IP laws because of the type of culture our country is being run on for so much years.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And wherewith it's like something that all these workshops and all these different things should have been adjusted to say, okay, we are heading down this road. We're about to get into this thing right here, so we can make sure that throughout the regions, we can make sure that we start putting up workshops so people to understand the reason why we have to make this move.
We have the first thing we need to do, Sherwin, is as Martin and I always say on the radio program in the morning. Education really is the key at this point in time
Yeah,
because educating the masses about their rights, and I think it's the government's job to educate the populace about their rights. So if they have any issues and they don't have the education about their rights, they should have workshops, which should be organized through the Ministry of Culture, Youth, and Sport to educate the populace about their rights, to educate those people, for example, who create special recipes. They need to understand how to protect their recipes, not only in Guyana, but internationally. For the people who do designs, they need to understand whether I'm a designer designing clothing or I'm a designer that's with the architect. I need to understand how I protect my patents, how I protect my work. All right. For the artists, for the producers, for those people involved in the music business, the writers, they also have to understand that without that particular law, we really cannot adequately and efficiently protect ourselves. We can't look to foreign agencies in the US and in foreign countries to look out for our best interests. It doesn't work that way. All right. So we have to get our politicians on board with the IP law issue and
yeah.
get to have that legislation so that that particular thing could be out of the way so that then our creatives could start and be sheltered under that umbrella. That would help them to grow and develop. Now, in that IP structure regime, a lot of what is happening now in Guyana would not be able to happen. And I think that the vice president had to take a greater look at the local content bill because we have companies, for example, from Trinidad, that they will come into Guyana. And one of the things you should have had in your local content law is that, for example, marketing and advertising, when you get into my space, you cannot source all your marketing and advertising from outside of the space that you're selling the product to make the money. All right. Some of that money has got to get into the community and the population via you hiring talent from the community. All right. And you're dealing with whether it's an advertising agent, photographers, that kind of stuff. So a lot of that money from those companies are really supposed to be injected into the community. All right. that really is a difficult thing, because what they do now is that and this is partly their fault, and partly, the fact that, listen, we're in a technological age and AI is all part of what we do now. But what that is doing is taking away, and if we don't know, that is taking away from a certain sector in our society, which is our advertising and marketing. Because where is the emphasis on having a unique voice when AI could do anything? It could duplicate James Earl Jones' voice and put it on a documentary for you. You understand? Is that what we want to have? Or do we want to have an environment that we foster our creatives? Because what is happening in Guyana is different. Because in Barbados, although we have AI and all these other things that are in there, it's not severely hampering their creatives development. All right. It may be stymieing, for example, those people who are in the voiceover sector, especially with this AI and the voice thing now that it does. That's affecting those individuals who were specializing in voiceovers. All right. Now, these are some of the things, though, Sherwin, that as a growing nation, we need to pay attention to. And there is no way that this government should be moving into the 2025 elections without addressing the issue of IP laws in the next tenure, you know, and there is no reason why the opposition should not have brought that up in parliament or otherwise to say, listen, really and truly, we should look at the development of the youth, because a lot of the youth are the inventors, the creators, the content creators, the movie makers, the photographers, the dancers, the models, the
Yeah.
all of that is part of an industry. That's what we call a creative industry. Because if you just to make a music video, you don't make a music video by yourself as the artist. You have to have a location to do that, models, you have to have camera, you have to have a camera crew to do that. So it's bringing in a lot of facets to build an industry. And this is what we
Yeah.
have to understand. It's thousands of people involved, not to mention the fact that the songwriter of the song is not even out there in the music video.
He's
So
a different aspect of
exactly,
the whole thing. Yeah.
exactly. So there is so much in that we should be dealing with. So we should be saying, hey, what happened? If we can't get you guys to come to the table and say, guys, through the Ministry of Culture, what can we do to really move the process forward with actual culture, and not just like I always say, Charles Ramson going out there doing stadiums and track and field is good. That's
Mm.
for sports, but again, that's not culture.
Yeah.
So the emphasis on our cultural development is where it should be. That is what I'm talking.
All right. So the thing is that, like I said, we we in a position where I still will lean on the side of politicians ride on the ignorance of the people,
Yeah,
and
all time.
wherewith we know that IP laws, even the people that understand to an extent about IP laws, is saying that this is not the most important thing to deal with right now, because of the same, again, being ignorant of what the importance is. Why is it important? But they're just
Yeah,
looking at what can
Sherman,
you.
they're just looking at it from one perspective of the
No,
fact
they're
that,
looking
okay,
at it on
well,
the crumbs part. The crumbs part means they're
yeah,
just looking at, give me something that I could start something now, but at the same time we can deal with that later.
Well,
So it's like,
I think them people just stupid, brother. Right? Because as much as you could make bread from your IP, and not even just the crumbs, you could make an entire living from your IP.
exactly.
How could they be experts in IP when it is not important? Now, for it to come from your brain, and you don't understand that you need to make money from your brain power, that within itself is stupid.
Yeah, that within itself is just stupid. And this is what we're saying. I mean, how could we have a country that individuals don't understand their rights? And this is what we've been talking about. And this is what I'm saying. When it boils down to 2025 elections, we need to hold each party, we're talking about the government and the opposition, at ransom in the saying, in this, by saying, let us see your manifesto. And does your manifesto include provisions for the tabling of intellectual property right laws? No, because if that's not happening, it makes no sense. And is that one of the things you're gonna do immediately as you get in? And here you have we have 20,000 votes from all the creative people. That's 4 seats in parliament.
Hmm.
Because the only way, as I keep reiterating over and over, the only way to affect politicians is through the vote. You're gonna talk from now till whenever you get tired and maybe drop down
Well,
and out.
there is two ways to get that done. Even though we could get it hands on and ahead of time from the voting aspect, let's say, I would imagine, they're not gonna put it on their manifesto. One party might, just because of the sake of it, right?
Yeah.
But then not a lot of people is talking about the fact that we need IP. So that reason alone is not going to be on anybody manifesto. The opposition never thought about it. They haven't done it. The leading party know about it. They haven't done it. So already we at the losing cause, right? The
Mhm.
AFC is coming into power and playing their part. I would hope that they thought about it and do plan to put it in,
You
right?
mean when you say power, you mean the AFC is coming into the political sphere again? Uh,
Well, were they ever really around?
yeah, well, you remember they were dismal the last elections. Remember
Remember,
there was a big argument with them and the PNCR about who makes appointments, etc., etc.
well, me worrying about that. I worry about the aspect whereby PNC is PNC as we know it, AFC
Yeah.
is AFC as we know it, and PP is already them, right?
Hmm.
So legitly now we have three parties ahead of the game or in the
Yeah.
game, right?
Hmm. All right.
Three actual parties who could really make a change for people. At the end of the day, we know or we could see that the opposition haven't been doing anything and they're not going to be doing anything. So,
Mm.
really and truly, we have to hope that the AFC comes in and make the necessary changes around, right?
All
Because
right.
we have
Mm.
a competent person. I would deem him competent based on all the cases won, the fact that he's a liar, the fact that he could speak properly,
Mm.
not to use race, but he's
But
black skinned, and a
all
lot of
right.
people would
But
vote just on that.
for me, right? I mean, I have several issues, a plethora. I gotta use some words here, right? I got a plethora of issues
Mm,
with their particular leader of the AFC now for several reasons, right?
mm,
Now, let's start with the simple. Let's go back to the 2015 election. All right, when Charan Das came out in Parliament and shifted over his vote to the now ruling PPP. Hence, the
mm,
government fell in a no confidence vote. All right. Now, we all know for those people who read, because they really have some people who don't read, unfortunately. All right. For those people who read, we understand there's no such word in the Constitution that says the word absolute. All right. Because if that word was in there, that would mean we would have to go back since colonial times and change every single law that was actually put in place based on the 33-32 majority.
mm,
Right? Now, I said that and that flew over everybody's head, right? You heard what I said? The
mm,
33 and the 32 majority. Now, you see how that plays on people's minds
mm,
when you're talking to people? This is how politicians play on people's minds. 33 cannot be less than 32.
Hmm.
All right. But it's called wordplay. And this is what I think kerfuffles some people's mind to let them believe by some miracle or by some technicality that 32 will be greater than 33. All right. So from
Yeah,
that first
we'll just pick up
go
there
ahead.
now. I'm gonna ask you a
Mhm.
question. One
Yeah.
times one equal to how much?
One times one. Well, I go in with Terrence Howard, you know. One times one is equal to two. You understand?
Then you're going against the laws of
I go in,
physics.
I go in,
That
I go
it
in against
was
every structure they got.
so why
That's
you
how
would
I
go?
see.
Why you would think that 32 is greater than 33 then?
No,
Because
no, okay. No, I believe that. Yeah, I believe 32 is greater than 32 is greater than 33, but not in this world. Maybe in the next dimension, that is greater, but not in this one. This particular 3D dimensional world that we living in, 33 is greater than 32. You know, so
yeah.
I didn't understand that particular one. So that's my first hiccup with Nigel. I
But of
didn't
course,
understand.
we know liars, man. On the given day, there is gonna be all kinds of different strategies just to try
Uh,
to win your case.
mhm.
And a man could bring it's all about belief, because we know
Listen,
this
Sherman.
world, a man will
It
come
was
and tell
everything
you,
with me.
show you
I
red
could,
and tell you,
I could.
do you know this thing is blue? And if you
All right,
say, no, 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 this is red, you can say you colorblind.
I could
And
take
they're
it
gonna
like this.
make sure that he presenting you that this is blue.
Here I take
So
it like this, right?
that's what he wanted to do with the
No,
court.
here what happened.
So
I
of
could have
course,
taken it.
but he didn't
Here,
win. That was not his day.
here I could take. No, Nigel did not go to represent that particular theory of his. It was Roysdale Ford and another gentleman who went to the CCJ with that. And obviously, I mean, at some point in time, while we having these lead up discussions to the elections, I'm gonna cut up a couple of clips where the defense is trying to make the case that really and truly they should have won. This is the PNCR with AFC. They should have won the elections based on a single word that was not in the Constitution but was injected in there by cleverly by a legal mind.
Mm.
But that legal mind did not go to the CCJ to represent that. Because obviously he knows as a very smart guy, hey, that can't hold no water. He's a bright guy. He knows that is not going to hold any water in a real court. In Guyana's like kangaroo, it might work. But there, outside again, it's not going to work. So we all knew that. Listen, all they had to do was to what they should have done was what was the norm in Guyana. It was once there was a no confidence motion and you fell in that no confidence, they immediately it would trigger the election process. That should have happened in a timely manner. The elections results should have been announced the following day and not 5 months after, causing us to have the longest election cycle with in history right now, 5 months. So that in itself, kind of is like, yeah, nah, that's a bad taste for me. That's one of the bad tastes. All
One
right.
of the things that I go against when it comes to the opposition though is like if I was a leading opposition, know that I got so much uh people people's interests supposed to have so much
Mm-hmm.
people's interests at heart. Let
Yeah.
me say suppose, right?
Yeah. Suppose.
Like for instance, that interview or that what we would call that is a press conference or is a news or is just a questionnaire or something that the guy had the other night with the VP,
Yeah.
right? So in these type of things that come across where we know a lot of people was looking at it,
Mm-hmm.
first of all, I would have made sure as an opposition that I scoot pinpoint every every topic and also every question that was asked, and I'll make sure that I put all that I have to rebut against.
Them people ain't got
Right?
them brain by.
Come out and make sure that you repress or correct all the things that you think that should have been corrected so that the people know beat the iron while it's hot. You know, this is the thing that is causing them to look like laggers because they're not proactive, bro. So there is like, you know, for sure, even though the present the governing party might be doing things that might not be in the way that we want it to be, who we gonna lean on, bro? Who trying to make sure that, hey, we gonna press it in the lay, you understand that no, this one is wrong.
No,
This
you know what? You know what is the funniest thing in the whole issue, in the whole thing? When you see not the opposition, but the government is saying, you know, we really and truly we need a real opposition. We need a very strong opposition. The government is saying to the opposition, we really need a strong opposition. That really shows the chaos
no, but
that they bring into the table.
same time too, that cutting you right. Same time too, the government is saying like the VP said, in the same show, in the same thing that they did. He said that the public has 10 representatives, the opposition got 5 representatives, and the government have 5 representatives that they actually bring to the table, discuss, and then supposed to take it to parliament, right? But what were you trying to say? All right, maybe let's say 10 regions, 10 representatives. I never heard that. I never heard nothing came out like, yo, the public said they really want this and they get it. It's always what is the gesture that's coming off of the government, be it which side. Nobody listening to the people on the road no more. They forget about everybody.
Well, I think, Sharon, they did listen and they do listen, right?
Yeah.
And not just in this time right now where we're seeing things actively being done because elections is coming up. But I do believe in order to create that manifesto that PUP have right now, they would have listened and paid attention on what we did wrong, what we supposed to do, what we got to change, and all these things, right? Because we could literally see the changes within their group, right? Unfortunately, no other group would have came out and said, well, guys, I'm sorry, we made a mistake. Let's come back to the seat and do this over again. PPP literally come out and say that. And that's to big them up, but
are you
we
sure
could
that
clearly
it's
see
not?
them.
You sure it's not? They're being pressured because of what is being said that you should be doing.
But
No, it's
What,
competition.
but check this out. Whether they're under pressure or not, Sherwin, you doing what it takes to keep you in power, in it smartly.
Of course, yes.
Okay.
You're not ignoring. You're not ignoring what is coming at you.
Exactly.
If it's coming from the street or if it's coming from another source or whatever.
One of the things that a lot of people are not paying attention to. Every Thursday, the vice president tries to have this press conference. Any opportunity he gets, like last evening where he sat down with this journalist to have that that discussion, he did not want to finish the discussion within the allotted time of the hour. He wanted to continue.
Yes.
All right. Because he understands how important it is to get your message over and your agenda over to the population. All right. They have begun campaigning already, not now, long.
Forever.
All right. While the opposition is now in Congress mode, right? While they're battling to see who is going to represent the party. I was in an interesting discussion this evening where a guy was telling me he thinks that, you know, the PNCR should hand their support for the presidential candidate to Nigel. And I said, well, we know that ain't happening. But we know that ain't happening. Let's not live in la la land. Unfortunately, I don't live in la la land. So I know that ain't happening.
Ego.
All right. We know ego that ain't over. All right.
I ain't making no comment on that, bro. Because next thing you know, because especially in the, I would
You
say,
you
in
you
the
you want come
U.S. diaspora,
you're commenting from Bamba Mali.
right?
All
Especially
right.
out here, right? It is so sick with the beliefs of patriotism. I would say being
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
patriotic to one place that I know. This is what I know. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So you find that
And Sherwin, that's not patriotism. That's a sick type of not what you call it, xenophobia, where it's only your group. That's not patriotism. Patriotism is where you honor everybody in your country, and you do everything to let your
because
country be ahead.
this was simply the example that we have several months ago when the leader of the country came here and was ready and willing to be open to have a conversation with any and everybody
Yeah,
Mhm.
from wherever affiliations you are in.
whatever
And
political party or
yeah,
whatever.
and just because my roll up to a forum where they feel like if the owner trickly into the place and
Yeah,
just bring
yeah,
you out back quietly. It was a
yeah.
big up to now.
No,
It's a
it was
chant going on. Don't support, no support,
no, it's
bro.
a big boycott scenario. I hear it. Hear the part that giving me stitches, right? The part that giving me stitches is when these cockroaches cannibalize each other, because they're saying boycott, 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 and every now and then, there I see me family posting up videos with the place, people enjoying themselves, drinking, eating, dancing. So this boycott working or the
Them
boycott?
man ain't no, them man ain't no strong, hold no brain, powerful
No,
bike,
no,
but
no,
nothing,
no.
brother.
There's
But
the
Exactly.
this
they,
was
they
saying,
got that down there only get a certain flavor. You can't if you go somewhere, you can't
I like
cut
that.
back. So if you're drinking, it tastes a certain way. You can't taste like that somewhere. So
No, but whatever happened to the good old Guyanese who used to gather to actually share mind ideas and development more than sit down behind a bottle of rum? What
you know,
happened to them kind of Guyanese?
but that's why I said the people that used to come out and willingly sit down and a conversation would roll up and there would be it would go to the extent as though Brian is gonna be a fight here, bro. For real. This
Mm-hmm.
might get broke out right now. But then eventually you just hear it, you hear an echo coming in the background. No, this is how we do it. When we done here, we go home. Tomorrow we come back again fresh, something different, But there's not that type of mentality no more. Everybody is so much everybody is so touchy and petty, I would call it.
Yeah.
That
Well,
they
speaking
cannot
of,
they cannot sit
mm,
down with an open mind to listen to somebody and just try to say, okay, what you saying here makes sense, but what you saying there it make no sense. So you know what?
no,
I ain't
sure,
like the point that you're
no,
dealing with it.
for me, is about the issue of dealing with something called logical thinking, and it's lacking in some politicians, my bro. We could see it. I sat in parliament in this country, in Guyana, right, and witnessed some things that, if I mean, bro, I mean, I've seen other parliamentarians. I mean, they had English Parliament, Margaret Thatcher in the days, pelting her shoe at another parliamentarian, jumping out, slugging out, all that kind of. Yes, that's happened.
It's a
But here,
custom.
well, that's a custom, right? But here, what happened? The, it doesn't go down to a level of buffoonery, stupidity, where, for example, I'm sitting in there, I'm hearing a discussion about the Amila Falls development, right? You remember I think it was before, it was 2015 time they were discussing the Amila Falls in Parliament. So we could
Hmm.
have had hydroelectricity to Guyana to facilitate this booming growth that we will now going on. So I am in there and I'm listening to the opposition parliamentarians at that point the PPP was opposition. They were before the 2015 elections, they were making the point, because they were the government, the PPP, that listen, we need to have this hydroelectric plant done in the Amila Falls area region. And you would hear all kinds of nothing to do with the actual development after you heard what the feasibility study was, after you heard what kind of megawatt power after this plant is developed in this region, what we'll be able to get from it as Guyana's benefit, what Brazil has already prospect from Guyana that listen, if you do this I can buy, and other territories including Suriname. Then these are the same individuals who, when we have blackout, are going to say the government is not providing an adequate system to ensure that we don't have blackout. Then when the government says, okay, so we're going to rent a barge and bring that barge in to help to offset the blackout, they jump on that as well and say, no, they shouldn't pay for a barge to come in. It's wasting taxpayer dollars. So in other words, we should stay in blackout. All right? That's the logical thing here. We should stay in blackout. And at the time when Guyana came into being, a lot of people like they don't have, a forward-thinking mind. Guyana's population has grown. The factories, the development, the houses, we have more of that. So the grid that we had when we just had Wartsila from way back cannot sustain a grid when somebody puts a manufacturing plant on that grid, when somebody puts a major hotel on that grid with hundreds of rooms, with lights and all of that. Like, apparently, what happened to the Guyanese mindset? What happened to the thinking of the individuals?
Again.
You see, like on the app, normally we will have different stuff coming up, and I'm seeing that there's a Caribbean Investment Forum scheduled to commence on Wednesday, July 10th. That's tomorrow at the Arthur Chung Conference Center. All right, Lindendal with anticipated audience of 400 participants. Surely a lot of people coming from the Caribbean
Of course.
investing into Guyana.
Yeah.
Now, there's no protection in Guyana concerning
this is what we
what's
talk
going to go on.
Where's the enabling environment for our Guyanese now to be able to invest and do a business?
So we never
shouldn't we be able to go to the banking system in Guyana with an excellent idea? Because the banking system in Guyana has something called liquidity at this point in time. This is why they should be giving a lot more loans. It's a lot to understand, and I know the VP understands this. Republic Bank and them have a whole set of liquidity, bro. There is they're not losing money and their investments in this country, They're not losing anything here, As a matter of fact, they're gaining more money to be a bank here in Guyana than anywhere else in the Caribbean presently.
Do you think that all this is happening? Do you think that all this is happening because the leaders or the government of Guyana is seeing themselves as the sole source of business when it comes to export or when it comes to dealing with anything concerning these big investment in and out of Guyana?
Like we were talking
about, because if they were thinking about the people or the people investing and getting all these, and as a government, all they do is govern what's happening. You know what I mean? I think it would have been a different frame of mind, frame of thought.
At the same time, that I would give the government the beating stick for certain things which they overlook. The beating stick also got to switch the other side and beat the citizenry. All right? Because a lot of the times, a lot of the stuff that happens is a consequence of their behavior or the things that they want to happen. And the things that they do not say, listen, no, we don't want this to happen. They do not come out and say anything about certain situations which are obviously blatantly wrong. They don't say anything. For example, when the tabling of, for example, the bill for sexual consent, the age of consent came up in Parliament. One of the things that was totally amazing to me is that big men were sitting in Parliament and discussing, right, that, the age of consent. Some people were saying, well, I heard big men in Guyana when you pass on them bars and whatever, after 12 is lunch. But them is pedophiles. They're supposed to be in jail. Now, those who are in Parliament now, and they're sitting there and allow a bill to pass that says a 16-year-old can consent to sex. How many of these men in Parliament, and even those women in Parliament, have teenage daughters? And if they could come and say that they think that their 16-year-old could consent to sex.
At the same time that bill was reviewed, right? Right, there was an issue, a big issue with a man from somewhere in the country that had an issue about the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And that bill passed just in time to save the man from jail,
Because it was a 13-year-old.
It came down low and then somebody bring it up back to 16. Wasn't that?
No, it at one point, it was at 13, my bro.
Yeah,
in
they
our
bring it down
mind,
to 13.
No. In the actual law, it was 13. In our minds, we thought
it was
higher. Exactly.
So you seriously saying that it was at 13 before it went up to 16? I hope somebody pull out what? Oh,
dude,
keep in mind, guys.
Go ahead.
Keep in mind, back then, that was the culture, right? So it's important to remember. Back then,
who introduced this culture, right? This after 12 is lunch.
No, but there's this saying, the culture was really and truly once a woman or a young lady. Well, once a girl turned a young lady, she's pretty much ready, right? In the Indian community, in the African community, and of course, the Portuguese took advantage, or the Europeans.
Yeah.
Right? Because of, maybe if I come and see you doing things just like the government doing right now, the opposition, they lacking? Perfect. Let me run free now.
But while you're saying that, Martin, remember, we are a growing people, right? We are at a different level growing age.
They mean your mind growing, brother.
No, I'm not talking about the mindset of one individual. I'm talking about us collectively. We have grown till we have different laws. We are the ones that determine what are the laws in our environment. Now, how can we sit there? This is my point to you. This is what I'm saying to you guys and to the audience. I want you all to listen to what I'm saying and think about what I'm saying. If these big men and women could sit in Parliament and make a decision to say that a 16-year-old can consent to sexual activity, do they have children? Are they viewing their children to that perspective that at that age they can possibly go, as we say in Guyana, tech man?
Them people not care about that way. Them people care about them getting into whatever they want to get into. Clearly, we see the minister and the previous minister and other people involved in these activities, right?
Alleged.
Remember now,
alleged.
Is it still alleged? I thought that was proven by now.
Well, which one of them were proved? Because there were two allegations against Minister Damerlau. All right, one big up the bush. Which bush by which bush? Where they the coyote? Which bush you there? So no, we definitely have to understand which how these elements come together, bro. Because Damerlau had one case where a young lady came out, she made a statement. I listened to it. Some aspects of it, to me, had a bit of shade. Then there was another one she came out, she said certain things which really didn't come together to me, because I don't understand, if you didn't want certain things to happen, you following this person into a dark, secluded area, a room. You said that the person removed your undergarments. So what happened? Even if he wanted to do the conolingus on you, what happened? You don't have a mouth to say no, I don't want no conolingus. Okay. So the story is one of the story ain't coming together, my
So
G.
I
It's a serious
agree.
one when it comes to these stories, you
So
know.
I agreed. Parts of it didn't make sense. But at the same time, the fact
Come on,
that she was able to identify certain things,
man.
you kind of have to give it to her.
No,
Right?
well,
Because if
no.
I could tell you
She could
the room
identify
is
the
this
area
color,
because she went there comfortably, bro.
good.
She
But
nobody didn't drag she to go. She went
true,
along.
true. Remember the main golden rule as a man, and this is for every man listening, young and old. The moment you hear stop, get out. Because you could be there comfortable,
Straight
going
up.
for a job and all.
Be it what
Right?
age, bro. You hear
Mhm.
stop, roll,
Well,
pull up.
it shouldn't even be age. Because obviously 12 or 16
No, I'm telling you, even a
shouldn't
grown woman would tell you that you rape shit, boy.
good.
It would be rape.
Which is
Yeah.
why soon as you hear no, I don't want to. And there's no start with no, because we're men, we have experience.
Yeah.
Man, stop. As soon as you hear stop, Maji, get out. You
No,
understand?
but listen to this. Listen to this in part of her statement that I saw in the video. No,
Mm.
he was being aggressive, right?
All right then.
Right?
Mhm.
She said, not in the beginning, but later on in the aggression after underwear don't come off.
There's not
I
like
don't.
a hard part.
No. Well, hold on, man. The underwear could come off and you can still get no. Right? We know
Good.
about all that. We know about all the rules. Good. Underwear come off. You could have said no, right?
Mhm.
Conolingus happening. Want to know at the point.
What? But
Pardon.
if even sometimes conolingus, if they happening right, but in the
Conolingus,
middle of
yeah.
everything, a quick thought fly, and you're like, nah, me want to do this no more. You got
She
still
want the
roll.
conolingus no more.
Yeah.
So she just decided,
I mean,
hey,
listen,
wire.
from a man's point of view, it's very hard
Mm.
to stop or quit at that point. You still would be wanna, nah,
Yeah,
I
finish.
can't. I still, yeah.
You
But
gotta
at the
finish.
same time, you got to think about how forceful it is that she's saying, listen, no.
No.
Right away, you
Exactly.
got to say, yo, back up.
That is where it
Because-
gets very tricky. Cause you
Exactly.
as a man last already.
Right
Well, that's
away,
what I'm saying.
you got to back
This
up.
is why I don't think the Guyana Police Force has pursued that particular case. So the one still the dormant. You ain't hearing
Correct.
nothing about that one. So the only one that has any amount of teeth
Mhm.
is the first
The
one.
first one.
And that young lady has removed that case based on our law, which I think should not have happened, because legally I think the DPP has the right as an independent legal agent to pursue all cases regardless of whether the plaintiff or the defendant decide, well, they want this or that. No, sir. It's already in our jurisdiction. We are going to see it to the end.
Is
Whether
the
you're guilty
DPP
or you're
independent?
well, it has. Listen, I don't want to say no, and I don't
Mhm.
want to say yes. All right, it's supposed to have autonomy. It's supposed to be
Mhm.
outside the ambit of government, touching
Mm.
it like that. However, again, this is Guyana. This is the little village that we're in.
Hmm.
This is why a lot of people don't want this little village to get some shaking up. And that's what's happening right now with the little village. It's
Mhm.
getting shake up. So a lot of people are kind of panicking and, oh my God, this, oh my God, that. No, relax. The village getting shake up so the right things could start to come in as part of the mechanisms to make this thing work efficiently. You understand? Because a lot of people are saying, for example, did you guys recognize that the Carter Center was here a couple of days ago
Yes.
to have a meeting with the government regarding the upcoming elections? All right, and we know The last time the Carter Center was here was during the period of Hoyt when they came in. But usually they send in observers. But we're talking about the huge team with Jimmy Carter himself. He was here. But that was way back. That was years ago. And that was during Hoyt's tenure. Now they're back again. I don't know what new um, maybe strategies and rules they have brought to the whole electoral process, because I think that is what they're trying to get Guyana to a stage where we don't have these issues with every elections there's a problem.
Well, I will hope that they're
It might be more
digitalizing the
electronic. Yeah,
system.
it might be more electronic this time.
Because
Well, if we go if we're going electronic, then our ID cards that are being issued now would have to have been
issued
biometric.
already.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
So-
They had to be biometric.
So here's some of the problem, right?
Mhm.
If in 2024, the government of Guyana, with all the money, cannot go fully electric with the voting process,
Mhm.
all parties full of everything,
It's
right?
deliberate.
Unfortunately, we can't cuss, but all parties is full of it. Because how could a lawyer,
Mhm.
a very recognized lawyer, still want to come up with all these paperworks when you in court on a screen? You understand? it don't make sense.
No, you
How
see,
could-
Guyana's left back in time in this antiquated paperwork thing.
We
That's why
choose
our
to be
court,
left back, brother.
our
I
court
love
system
the
is
paper.
in that same way. Our
I love the
banking
paper
system is in the
process.
same way. Our political system is, everything is caught up in this backlog of tons and tons of paper.
And we cannot continue like that. This is
No,
why
we
we got to
cannot.
start calling a spade from now. The
Well,
lawyer
not for
can't
no
come.
long.
Well, is now we have the legit opportunity. The lawyer shouldn't be able to come and run for government, run for president in this time
No, I
with
mean, come on.
a paper sheet,
No. That cannot
right?
work.
Because I should be fair enough to say, well, you coming with your own paper in your back pocket, just like the opposition would have done with their own flash drive and plug in the system. At least they was coming up to the time with the flash drive on the computer. You understand me?
Yo, the Carter Center is, of course, is going to be, I guess, it's going to be either they accept what they're bringing to it, because they ain't gonna come with nothing that is not highly technological as for what's going on today in electoral process. But of course, I don't know if it is something that is already in the process, that they're gonna be the ones that is running the election, or it's something to be
They
decided.
usually oversee. They usually
Well,
oversee.
what happens, sure, when they are observers, they couldn't possibly run our elections.
But what I'm saying, you can't observe something that you will see and then get blamed. Eventually, you will get blamed.
No. I mean, listen, in 1992, when the Carter Center was here and the PPP won and the rioting and stuff started, the people blamed the Carter Center for coming in
course.
to switch up the elections in Guyana, which
Nobody
really and
know
truly,
you.
we all know that basically for years there was a stuffing of ballot boxes. People know about these things in Guyana.
That's why.
Why? You know what's funny about Guyanese? Guyanese will know a particular issue, but they wouldn't talk about it and they ain't gonna mention the truth about it.
Because we're
They
afraid.
would not. We would not mention the truth about Eddie Grant. We would not mention the truth about Father Dark. We will not mention the truth about Walter Rodney. We will not mention the truth about certain. What is wrong with this country, really?
We're mentally deprived.
Something has traumatized Guyana so much, and this is why I say it on the radio program, Martin.
But you
Um,
cannot be so traumatized, Malachi, when you're still encouraging the thing same in 2024.
No, it's the Stockholm syndrome, guy. This is why you are also now part of the enabling destruction, because you get destroyed so long that you have now decided, okay, well, there's nowhere else to go. We just join the destruction and done.
No,
That's how I
sense.
view it. because it doesn't make any sense the way some of these politicians even decide to put a lot of these points over it doesn't come together. And if you listen to them, last evening when Jagdeo did the press conference, I think you and I are the only two people, maybe people like Kit Nascimento and Jerry Gavaya and them guys probably picked up on when the question was asked by the guy who was doing the interview, and Jagdeo quickly skimmed over what he was trying to ask about the Muhammad family and that particular issue because he didn't want to deal with it. So what he did, he jumped off on a tangent and then went off and kind of overshadowed what the guy's initial question
Kind of
was.
like the famous meme when the journalist asks about Sue and he stumbled and he said, Sue, he's a tenant in my place. And he went straight to something else. Right?
No, but that was a little slicker than that one. That one was in the Vice interview. He was kind of shocked when he heard Sue. He was like,
because it was unexpected. But last night's interview came off very smooth.
Exactly.
Because whatever the question was, I'll try to pull it up before we run out. But he answered, "Oh, the Mohammeds? Well, we can't be associated with certain type of people." And he went, based on what the AFC would have done. Now, how does that ties back into my question?
No,
and the interviewer, for some reason, our journalism level is like everything just lacking.
Then a shark.
I think what happened, right? The interviewer was not.
Them two friend up
the
in my
interviewer
opinion,
is not even conscious enough to understand that you cannot be trying to be in the interview as for the question that's being asked. You got to ask the question and you got to allow the person to go to a certain point, and then maybe you can interject to say, well, okay, that's where I wanted it to go, blah, blah, blah. But he was injecting by words. He was putting in words. He was putting in...
as somebody, as a journalist who's supposed to be controlling an interview, he could not control the vice president on that interview. And that's one of the things you have to understand about journalists and journalism. A lot of people in Guyana want to be that.
Yeah,
however,
but
they don't
that's
understand.
When you're going in. That's when you're going in with a fantasy of support towards who you're interviewing, rather than putting yourself back into a neutral, neutral spot as a journalist and deal with the issue as per what people would need to hear. You know,
exactly.
I mean?
The problem with Guyana, right, is we don't understand the meaning of being apolitical. Everybody wants to be, we black, so we in PNC. We colored or we mix, so we in the AFC. We coolies, so we in the PPP. You understand? We don't understand. Well, hold on, this isn't really making sense. I can't subscribe to anything that you guys have going on.
Exactly.
Nothing.
Right? And until you get your answers, until you see substance, then we should be able to say, well, yes, I could actually stand behind this person. Right? Which is why the manifesto is important, and the vice president did mention the manifesto.
Exactly. He did mention his manifesto. He also said there are hundreds of things that they have accomplished outside of their manifesto.
And
now, when you have one political party that is able to do that kind of brag and boast, and you have the other party who was in just before them, and they cannot brag and boast about any issue.
Like they couldn't
outside of stalling the country up for 5 months and creating division. That is what was that, their contribution? Where is the development aspect of it? Have you seen the opposition actually go into parliament? Because one of the things I telling Guyanese all the time, hey, these people getting paid from everybody. Government and opposition taking pay. So they could go in there, like these guys will go in the buffet in parliament, eat themselves to a full and get niggeritis. So while we talking about real issues on the floor, like dealing with the blackout and DBL, these guys there fall back with their mouth open. You gotta see this stuff to believe. Trust me. Like critic, they say, can't make this stuff up. You gotta come to Guyana and witness this kind of unbelievable things, bro. Because you like, wait a minute. You in parliament. You're supposed to be looking out.
See?
And this is why I always talk about parliamentarians in Guyana need to be voted in by a particular constituent that
I was
can
just
pull them
about,
back.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah, bro,
Bro,
that can pull these
we
people back.
need to move away from the government, from the parties,
The winning party
now,
take all and
taking
appoint
people
everybody.
and appoint people to
Yeah,
positions.
buddy. You gotta
What you
come
gotta
away from
do,
that.
or if you gotta either you do like how the Western world is doing it. Okay, in order for a law to pass, all right, we have the top bracket parliamentarians, a certain amount in order for the votes to whoever is who's on the winning side for the votes to go through. All right, but you have the preliminary, which is like the house over here.
Mm.
You have the preliminary where this is where it's like it's constituents that actually come together from all different.
The thing is, Sherwin, if they're gonna vote, if they're gonna have any change in, let's say, if you're gonna institute a table something in Parliament and it's gonna have a vote in Guyana based on that old English, there must be a quorum. You talking about no less than one or two people could maybe be missing from each side. But basically, it's got to be constituted the quorum in order to have any voting happen. All right? Because
But
later on, you can't come back to say, no, what you got to understand, you see the 65 seat in Parliament, right?
right,
It either goes this way or that way. All right? If you're in
Right.
government, you got the majority. If you ain't got the majority, you're the opposition. Now, what this causes a problem because also outside of that, when a party wins and they set up they have their candidate list. Their candidate list is not to let people know that okay, you voted for this person and they're representing Region 4. And all the people in Region 4, when they vote for, let's say, President Ali, they vote for the person from their constituents that's representing them in Parliament.
right.
All right? So that, let's say, they put that person that's representing Region 4 in Parliament, and the people in Greater Georgetown and Georgetown, garbage always there on the road, we ain't getting clean water like right now and all them kind of thing. What can we do? We can literally, as the citizen say, we would like to recall this guy.
Pressure, yeah.
He
Putting
can't
pressure on
walk.
him, yeah.
Exactly. He cannot be there anymore. We need to have
We ain't got nobody we could pressure.
who you can pressure. Nah,
You can't
because
pressure
the winner
nobody.
because the winner take all, the government of the day appoints their parliamentarians and is their party loyalists who going in there.
So
Henceforth, you don't have people who thinking policies. It's about party politics, paramountcy of party. That is what's going on here.
So what we need to see in the upcoming election, right, and changes now since people still in Congress, of course, people would have concluded a while ago and, doing the thing. We still need to see changes whereby, as Malachi would have just said, you can put your friends, your family, your cousins, and your comrades, not because they are part of your soup drinking aspect of things, they qualified. Because we've seen a lot of ministers who ain't qualified. We've seen a lot of people running companies who ain't qualified, right? This is why we have the everyday problem of private sector versus the public, right?
And
But
people
But that's
see
the
this
BS
every
that is
day.
happening every
People
time
see
an
this.
election is done.
But
Every
people
time an
see this
election
stuff
is
happen.
done, right?
People see this and the opposition says nothing. Has the opposition said anything about, for example, Molly Hassan moving from courts to NCN and from NCN to Guyana?
That's what I'm saying. But the thing is that okay, every time a political party wins, all right, say there's a change, right
Mhm.
away these guys just go to pinpointed companies,
Mm.
and all they do is say, "Yo, you gotta go, you gotta go, you got so much days to go," and somebody else coming in. The person that's coming in, because I have a typical example where I was used to work. A guy came there that has no knowledge, and when he came, The marketing manager was expected to teach him because he was acting at that time. Teach him the job.
Mhm.
Within the next couple of months, that the guy feel as though that he know well enough for what's going on. Of course, you can't be matured enough in just a couple of months. But then you start feeling your feet a little strong on the ground. You
Mhm.
start making some immature decisions just because you name boss or whatever is being said. Oh, this is what we got to do.
That's not
You know what I
important for
mean?
you.
So there's no way of management. It's all about what they want us to do. How it's just a yes man thing. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And the guy going on with thousands and thousands of dollars every day for doing sitting down there and just being an actor.
No, Sherwin. Speaking about that, where is the opposition understanding of okay? We have the Ministry of Education, we got the Ministry of Tourism, we got the Ministry of Culture. Where have any one of their parliamentarians or representatives, for a matter of fact, what's her name, had a big fancy ad, Amanza. Is Amanza for me, right? Incidentally, I'm wondering that ad song really Trinidadian. While you're Amanzering, the ad sound like it making Trinidad. It didn't sound like it making Guyana. It didn't sound like Guyanese vocalist, nothing at all. So that's some more money that left, right? All right. So while they're talking about these issues, I'm wondering when are they gonna bring up real issues? For example, issues like Guyana has to have a price control board. I can't go from survival to another supermarket and another corner, and a price for a simple item varies dramatically.
Mm.
I cannot go to the corner shop for a corned beef and it's saying five something here, and when I go over at the Chinese, it's saying three something.
So why it is not something that is happening on the ground, knowing that they actually when I was listening to the VP, he was
Mhm.
saying yes, we have the economy is not as it's supposed to be or it should be. You
The VP
know,
also, he knows he has to
you
put a price
knows
control
that,
board.
but of course, there is nothing towards.
No
And
pressure. Nobody's asking for it.
exactly. Look, you
Close
know
mouth
when
don't get
you
fed, man.
look, Sherwin. You know when something really
Government
happened.
don't like nobody picket and
No,
thing,
but
you know.
let me show you when something
Government don't
happened.
like that.
When the people at Perico were facing the issue with the speedboats raising the prices to go to the areas down that side in the river, you know what they decided to do? They decided to create an ad that tells the population, this is the price to go from here, from Perico to Supernam. From here to there. They created that price control because what the boat operators were doing was deciding at this time is so early morning. No, me taking no 1300, 1500.
Hmm.
All right. The minibuses that were coming from Georgetown to Perico at night will decide that, nah, me taking the regular fare. The regular fare is now double. If I want to go to Iflot or let's say Phoenix Park in the night, which is supposed to be like $200, they want $500.
But
So
now,
no, but
but
hold on.
now
Let
at
me
that
let
note,
me show
yes.
you. Now the government had to listen to the cries of the people in the population saying that this is happening, and they put some measures in place. Now they only put measures in place for the boat. Now, one of the things I know government officials know about is every time the school, because we care grant for the children comes out to the parents, the people in border market who selling anything for school children, the price goes up. Now tell me that these government people ain't got a clue is what going on in this country. It's only the layman on the ground who know that when I go to border or when I go to buy material to get a dress or a pants for my children who going to school, it costs more. That is because they don't have a price control board. So these people who have their businesses are doing price gouging. In other words, they know that there's circulation of currency in the population. They raise the price to absorb that money so they get money. It's a greedy set of
And
individuals that are here.
that's where the government should have a system
This is
Okay,
why
you,
the
you
government
could get
gotta
a
put
you
a
could get a
system stop that.
yeah, you get a ticket for the first offense, and then with a warning letter, whatever, and then after that, then it continues to come through because if
Guyana, as we all know, have a habit of, oh, when you walk in a place, the price depends on how you look and how you dress.
yo,
Come
well,
on, man.
let me tell you something.
How we gonna have a
You
tourist sector
you
when
speaking
you got
from
stuff
in
like
the
that?
country, so I can't doubt your boss.
No, I tell you, man, when you come here, you experience it yourself.
Simply here, right? If you go into one of the stores that like you say you go to the furniture store,
Yeah.
and they tell you a product is $5, and you go online and you could pull up the same product, the exact product, right, and show them that online the product is $4.
Mm-hmm.
They normally do price comparison and they will bring
No,
it down to
no,
that
catch it. No,
price.
catch a laugh. Catch a laugh. I can give you a laugh, right? This is a memory card. All right. Now, when you go to certain establishments, quote unquote, Afro Guyanese establishments, right? And you go to buy these things, they're in the thousands of dollars range, right? All right. You could go to a Chinese and buy the very product, $1,500. Now, where are they buying the same product that the Chinese selling from? Not the Chinese, bro. Our business people and the people in Guyana have to stop this unscrupulous type behavior onto themselves. The government needs to put a price control board in place and have inspectors go out on a weekly, sometimes daily, to ensure that these people adhere to certain standards and price listings. You also have to keep checking these people in border market who just tell you get 2 pounds of cassava and it's one they give.
Yeah, you gotta watch them skills.
Yeah, bro. It's
Yeah.
listen, at this
So,
point in time, we gotta get rid of them old stupid weight pong
yeah.
thing that happened that since in the 1800s. What is digital
Yeah,
skills they
yeah,
got now,
you gotta
bro?
get a digital skill. Flat point.
Why City Hall telling people, oh, we can come and check your scale and your weights? What? In which country people does business with them big metal thing where you clang, 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 and you weigh in with a bucket on one side? This is 2024, bro.
Yeah.
What kind of antiquated we talking about being the Dubai of South America? When you have that kind of mentality in mind, you can't think them kind of salt good shop
But
business thing.
but
What's
then
the
again, too, you know, it comes back to the same transportation business that you was talking about. It leaves now to the people's. It leaves the people to the owners of these transportation vessels and vehicles to their own mercy, because we don't have a transportation system set up in Guyana properly
this is what I'm
that
saying. And
is
and I
very
really
efficient to say, okay, people are getting like for instance, say the
Mhm.
speedboat that is going to certain areas. You got one boat leaving a certain time, it go out for the whole day, and then it come back a certain time, right? If you miss that boat, that's it. Now they got water cars, like these water taxis.
yeah.
You set up the same system with a few water taxis that is currently passing each other on a regular basis to
Mhm.
and from to one area to another area. You got Wakenham, you got Supernam,
Supernam,
you got these taxis
Charity,
rolling.
all them places. Yeah.
Because
No.
at the end of the day,
Mhm.
if the government is supplying the people with these type of service, then it
Mhm.
eventually puts the pressure on these speedboats to either be a little lower or to be at the same price and cannot go above
But the
because
thing
there is
about
an
it,
efficient service that's ongoing.
because well, for example, you and I both know. A matter of fact, Martin also knows it because we all do business, live whatever in the US. We know the public transportation. Look, they got the dollar bus. The dollar bus cheaper than the normal bus, right? But one thing you could tell with the normal bus, The normal bus is on time, and he gonna beat that other bus any day, because you got your own part on the road to travel on. Nothing is supposed to block that.
Yeah,
So on time arrivals is a must.
it's a must. A
Is
man
a
could
must.
schedule his whole day with the on time business.
Yeah, bro. Using the bus, the train, whatever you need to get around.
Well,
All right.
that's called system. I
That's a
mean, and
system
like I said,
efficiency.
Guyana is talking
System
about
efficiency.
the infrastructure change, whatever. But if you can't change the people's mentality to yo,
Yeah.
I want to go from point A to point B, you better reach here at a certain time if you want if you want to
Yeah.
meet there, or you want to do this, you want to do these things. We can set up. We can force all these people that is taking advantage on you guys on the road. We can force them away from this whole system.
Exactly.
So
Let
we
it go
can
and find
give
a
you a
job.
proper service. Yeah, we give you a proper service that is going to be always. It's going to put the country
Because really and truly, the government doesn't have to take these guys out of business. These guys can then be the operators of these things.
of
The
course,
buses,
that's where you
the
encourage
boats.
them to be. Yeah,
So you
train
encourage them to be
properly.
part of this system and not be that private. Because at some point, yes, you have private entities running the road, running the rivers, stuff like that. Yes. But it cannot outweigh the government service to its population.
Correct.
And neither could those people hold the population at ransom, because we know for a fact if the Minibus Association decide today they want to change the price from $100 to go to South Rhineville to $150 and they strike, nobody ain't going home from work. There is not another way of getting to South, not unless you decide you're going to spend money and go to with a taxi. And at that point in time, the taxi drivers then decide, oh, you there in a problem now. I can dig you out. So to go to South now is 2,000 instead of 1,000.
Well, is there any feasibilities whenever they're coming to certain decisions of of thought? Because like we would see feasibility, like we looking at, all right, we realize that as a train service, we realize that people hardly coming on the train. They're driving to work. Now the city is going to the place to say, you know what happened? The city getting too congested. We can start thinking about, we can make them go on the train.
Yeah,
So,
we can make them go on the train.
All right, every time you come in the city with your vehicle, you can pay so much to come in the city. Now the man can calculate, all right, if I pay $275 to go and $275 to come, it's far less than what I got to pay, maybe about 3 times the same amount.
To just
if
drive
I drive
your car
into
into the city.
plus gas.
Exactly. Plus gas.
You understand? So right away, it's just trying to figure ways and means without even saying a word. You figure ways and means of how to put
and you know other ways that whole transit system in especially in New York traps you. They have done one of the most ingenious ideas I've seen, which is this is how we can get you. If you're in a particular area, we can give you a free ride. We can pick you up and give you a free ride to the train station. But when you get there, you got pay.
Because it comes back to the same thing, Remember back in the day, if you come off the train, you can use the same swipe.
Yeah,
it's the same thing. It comes back to the same thing. So they're gonna lose.
Encouraging more people to use the bus and train as a combination in their travel.
People coming off the train head on to the bus.
Exactly. So, these are the mechanisms that I'm quite sure that a lot of government officials, opposition officials have witnessed, have experienced in their life because they travel.
They know.
They just travel. So why did this come back and try to keep the rest of Guyanese in the Stone Ages?
Because there's the ones that is not fully aware, mind was not open. So they just say, this is how the thing is run. We done happy. Y'all happy? We good? All right, take a 45 and we good to go. Let's go again.
Hey, we really have to grow beyond what it is that we're doing right now as a people. Because it's not coming together. We're not working. Guyana is moving forward, yes, in infrastructure. But like you mentioned and I mentioned, the development as a people aspect of it ain't happening. and it's not happening yet. And that's where it has to happen, because we could fix how much road, how much gutter, we could have the best infrastructure. If the mindset of the people don't grow and don't come up, it's back to square one again. You squander everything.
Why I went to one perfect example of what you just say. I went to the big Marriott, staying as a guest at the Marriott. I think it was year 2017.
Mhm.
Sit in the poolside area, chilling. For some reason, it took a while before the young lady pull up.
You surface.
And when she pull up, she's like, "It's where I say I getting again."
Oh my good gosh.
You know what I mean? And I was like, but
It's where y'all
I
say
did,
y'all get
yeah.
it again.
And I was like, I didn't even say that I needed something, but she is being distracted in so many ways. She thought I said something,
Yeah.
and I had to be
She
like, you
probably
know
thought
what? No,
ordered before.
I go get it myself. I walk to the bar and go and get what I needed, and then come back and sit
Yeah.
because I just was torn off of the way she started. I said, yo, I can't deal with this girl. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I heard that there's some training going on for hotel staffs and bartending and
Well,
different things. I'm
in
not
my
sure.
estimation, that's a little slow, because from January to the end of June, we had 112,751,000 people come to Guyana.
Wow.
So what are you really doing? You needed to have had your hospitality service in order,
Big time.
and had, you see, this is what I mean. Me and Martin and I always talk about the education in each sector. Guyana has not had what we call the service sector area improvement from its inception. Now is the time where there's an influx of people coming into Guyana. Now we are understanding now about the service sector, about the hotel sector, about how we provide certain services to customers coming in. Because I know in the early 90s, when you go out anywhere and you go to any restaurant or anything in Guyana, you hardly even get good night. How are you tonight? May I take your order? Nothing. It's just pull up, watch you
What
with a
you
dry
want?
face.
Is
We
where you
want.
get where I get
We,
it.
we are getting there. A matter of fact, you and I were sitting in sleeping, having a conversation, decided, okay, we're gonna just raise our hands to the
Yeah.
bartender. That took a while for they finally realized that we're trying to get service. Then when we get service, it was the same thing you said. What can I get you? No,
No, good night. My
no,
name
no,
is
no.
so.
My name is so so.
Yeah,
We
I'll be
have
your
we
server for the
have
night, whatever.
yes, we have this. We have pina colada, we have Tanqueray, we have Hennessy, we have beer. Nothing. It's just
Nothing
where you
but
get in there. I mean, we have to change the whole dynamics about how we understand
yeah.
customer service, and this has to do with the Ministry of Tourism. I know they are doing a lot. They have started some programs, but what we're talking about is the overall synergy of ministries. We have grown to a point now where we must understand synergy,
Synergy. Yeah.
where there's a link in with these ministries. For example, education, culture, and tourism intersect at a point. All three ministries intersect at a point where the government should be providing or allowing people in those areas like to form think tanks
Yeah.
so that they can devise strategies and policies to help improve a particular sector, whether it be the Ministry of Culture and its delivery of its mandate, which would be to expand Guyana's cultural diversity and to enhance that, with the Ministry of Education to educate our population not only about their rights, but to give them more of who they are as Guyanese, the whole cultural experience through education. All right. and in the tourism aspect of it, where tourism comes in, so that those creative people from Guyana, the musicians, the artisans, the sculptors, all these people, they can be allowed the opportunity to come in and benefit from the budding tourism sector that's happening. That's what's supposed to be going on.
Well, as we see, I see. Good night, Miss Stacy Mack.
Yes, Stacey on the call.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
she said she found a few places because she recently visited Guyana, and she found a few places that was commendable. Definitely, there is it may be like we said, it might be an effort that's being made right now to to get staff to start putting themselves in a better place of approach and also service. You know what I mean? So um kudos to you for the recommendation, knowing that you visited Guyana for the first time, and you have something good to say, especially coming from the hotels and also the service given to you. So yeah, big shout out to whoever it is that might have been those those representatives. You know what I mean? All right,
Overall,
so
like,
she said, but the airport was appalling.
well, of course,
Yeah,
overall,
the
Sharon,
airport. The
we've
airport was
always
appalling.
been very hospitable people, right? I believe we're some of the best in the world because I've came across a lot of people and there's none like us, right? Especially in service area, right? Whereby, yeah, we may talk wild and reckless or out to the ordinary, but at the same time, we make sure, are you good? It's like we just double check and triple check on them side of thing. If you ask, depending on how what mood the person in, you can get extra on them side of thing. Right? Guyana is the only place where I believe treats you fairly nice as an outsider.
No, but I would say in communities,
Mm.
but in the sense of we was like on the level of people's well trained approach when it comes to service in the places like dining and hotels and all these different things. There's some, right? Some that you can actually say, well, yeah, this is something good. But there's other places you could go and you would get it like, this ain't right at all.
Well, people also need to be incentivized, right? Whereby if I'm coming to your establishment, I don't want to come and know that I see you sleeping and slumped away because you would have been working above 8 hours,
Mm-hmm.
right? In the airport aspect, the immigrations officers, they look tired. You could literally tell them. Some of them are just, you all right there, ma'am? You need some coffee or something,
Yeah, yeah.
right? You could literally tell that these people have been on the clock forever. And this is not some of the things as a foreigner you want to come and experience, right?
Mhm.
So to hear people talk good about our country, our people, is nice, it's commendable. But at the same time, we know for sure there's things that could be fixed, right?
Yeah.
And
Now,
it is
now we
continue.
we we could say, right,
Mm,
for the so many that left our shores and went to, especially like the Caribbean islands, um a lot of the small countries and so on, just to say, listen, uh I'm going over there. There's an island or a country of tourism, um and I am being compensated properly, well trained and everything to do what I'm doing.
mhm.
Like we was saying earlier, you know, there must be something that the government or businesses can do in order to get these experienced and trained people to say, you know what, I could go home back and I could make sure that I feel happy to know that I'm back in my country. but at the same time, I have a job, and the system is properly set that it secures me. That I can say, well, okay, if I go and get a job over there, I guarantee I get a job over there. It's security that I ain't gonna it ain't gonna just fall through anyhow by any means. Because,
Mm.
like to say, if I'm going to a hotel, hotels must have a standard of um you must have a standard of rate of pay. That a man could say, well, you know what? If I get into anyone in the hotels in here, I know definitely it's gonna be about this amount. This is the minimum, right? If I go to a restaurant, because I'm over here working in a restaurant, if I go to a restaurant over there, there's a minimum wage towards that. Yeah, if I compare it with whatever I'm getting here, yeah, it could work. There's no security that anybody would want to say, you know what, I'm going back home and
That is because the lack of IP. We focus on the goods of things. We have a lot of resources. We know how to export or give away and them side of thing. We don't know how to do service, how to do business, right? So we fail ever so often because everybody or almost everybody in Guyana have a shop on the bridge, under the house, or in the house.
but that
Right?
should not be in an area. There's another thing. In an area, you should not have so much license given for a particular area. The first thing is supposed to be when you come in. The first thing is supposed to be when you come in. It'd be like, we already have a grocery
Well, license, G.
shop
Them not no
license. Bro.
license give away for shop buy.
They ain't got
You
no
go buy
shop license.
no. You go buy grocery by the Chinese, put it in your house, sell through your window.
What?
That's how we just function.
Just put it.
Yeah.
Nah. No, you making up that one, bro. For real.
No,
You making up
no.
that one.
No.
For real.
I was about 7 years old when I opened a shop in front of university. Until today, nobody have told me anything about keeping it open or closing it down. This is my experience.
Nah.
No, Sherwin. This is why when the government is attempting to remove these stalls, all kinds of shops on the actual purpose that extend on the road, that is why it becomes a problem, because Guyanese have this culture of belief that they could, like what this girl was saying on Facebook, me hurting nobody, I just created an honest hustle. However, your honest hustle is not in keeping with the bylaws of the city. All right? So this is where some people, this is why I keep saying before, why I think Guyanese end up in a lot of conflict is because there's a serious lack of education in certain things.
Even in the fancy communities, hold on, Malachi, in the fancy communities like Diamond and places leading up and after, right? Eccles in them area. Big fancy house. Y'all could check on various social media pages, even the president page, and they're going to show them nice fancy house that we got. But if you look around, one of them is a grocery store, right? One of them is a hardware store. The other one is a welding shop in a corner. And the other one selling wood. This is what we like to do. We don't understand the aspect of and importance of business. Because if we understood business, you would know that you need to be away from your house to capitalize more. And this is why places like America and so this boom.
Exactly. And this is how business grows, because if you can't own that particular business area in the business, let's say in the business sector, you are renting. So you are providing money to a owner. That person is also paying out money to other people. So money is being generated. We don't think like that. Guyanese think like, nah, once I get it, it gotta be downstairs in my house. I could wake up and come down in my boxer shorts and sell anybody. And go back upstairs and I keep me money underneath my mattress. We got come off of that. That was what, in the 70s?
So
That's not an oil producing nation type of mentality.
What?
no, but how it has to be. But what's government for, bro? For governing, right?
Yeah.
And at the same time, local entities was supposed to be RDC, NDC, in the sense of mayor, township,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
All these
They
things
also play a
things that you're
part.
supposed to make sure. Yo, nah, in this area, this can't happen. Now you gotta scrutinize the lazy Brad, bro.
The
For real.
directors or the leaders for the RDCs or NDCs or whatever else, the mayor house and everything else in between, is politicians.
And that's wrong.
The
That's
Bro,
wrong.
NGOs, the companies that's supposed to be NGOs, is politicians running them, brother.
if you notice, one of the most controversial posts on social media with the president was at a meeting where he was telling a young man, he said, "So you went out from to go do a report. So where is the report? You just come back and say what you see.
Hmm.
Where is the physical report that I can send to somebody and say, well, review this?" So the president himself was pointing out some of the shortcomings of the NDCs and them hiring some people who really know what they're doing. You
Because they
can't
hired
send
a
somebody
cousin.
out to bring a report and the person go out and come and tell you, oh, everything all right, man. The buys them doing this and doing that. Really? That's
Bro,
how a report is
in my
done?
normal small company here, right? If you ain't come back with pictures and a detailed report, that
No.
man send you
Nobody
back.
got
That
send you
man
back.
send you back and say, go get the pictures.
Go get the pictures and do
Not
a
not
proper report and come
not
back.
even though, even if you register a company, which a lot of Guyanese kind of have, right? We go and spend a little $5,000 and everybody now in the mother own a company. Even if
Mhm.
you do that, we're supposed to have a body whereby they come and verify. Like in America, you could register your business, and if you don't have your logbook, IRS don't count that as a business and they would fine you.
Yeah.
So what is GRA doing? GRA, in this case, supposed to create a department of investigators to go and make sure, well, if Sue said he at the apartments, then the apartment is functioning as apartment and not apartment, a shop, a kind of store, a whatever else.
A
You
boutique,
understand?
a club, all kind of thing out of one space.
You mentioned license. We can't get no license because we don't even understand the concept of licensing because we don't understand the concept of IP.
IP. So how are we licensing properly?
Hey,
This is why you
this
have radio
conversation.
stations, you have businesses, you have all of these things functioning in a country where in other countries they know hotels and all these places pay something called a blanket license to have people music and stuff played in their place. Home Depot and all these places in the US do the same thing. Even in the Caribbean, hotels pay their fees, radio station pay their fees. The only
Mhm.
country that don't exist is Guyana. Radio stations download and play whatever they feel like for free.
But even that is stupid. We don't want to pay out a fee, but
But we
forgetting that
want
we're
more.
supposed to also collect a fee
Exactly.
because a
We
radio
give up with
station is
fee.
supposed to collect money from the creators, right?
Exactly.
Well, don't let me say the creators directly. So your manager gonna come and pay to play, right? So you could get your interviews, you could look nice and these sort of things. They're now gonna use them on your recycle it and pay you back in a smaller percentage.
Because the station ain't got to pay a blanket license to hear your music.
All right.
So you don't get in pay.
IRS supposed to tap in and say, where is mine? I mean, GRA supposed to tap in and say, where is
GR,
mine?
but GRA themselves, not understanding the issue of IP, are lost in the wilderness.
That is where we have the
Be-
major problem.
Because a lot of revenue, billions of dollars in IP revenue, is being lost. If we were at a stage where promoters in Guyana at one point in time didn't understand the taxation issue, where they didn't even understand that artists coming into the country were to pay their own
Yep.
taxes.
Yes.
Yep.
So this is why I keep saying education is a necessary thing, because, like Sherwin pointed out earlier, if you have a country that's highly developed in its infrastructure, but the mindset and the growth of the minds of the individual in that country to handle that improved infrastructure is not going to go together.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to have an improved mindset with an improved infrastructure for it to go hand in hand for growth and actual development to happen. You can't have all the buildings looking fancy and the people can't read properly, they don't know their rights, they don't know anything. It's gonna go to hell again. All right. So we have to educate the population so we don't have situations where people can bluff the Guyanese populace and say, it says in the Constitution, absolute. And a lot of Guyanese don't know, it doesn't really say that. Pull up Google, go to Google on his smartphone, go to Guyana's Constitution, go to that act that he's talking about, and see if the word absolute is in there. This is why education is necessary. Because when you have people coming out on social media and making certain statements and saying certain things, one of the things you have to understand is that they're saying it because they're trying to achieve a certain goal.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to create a certain influence by doing it. So it might not necessarily be true. So in order to verify, just like we say when we're on our programs, if we say anything, you can Google that. Make sure that what we're saying is what we know what we're talking about. All right. So to make these kind of these crazy statements, these guys and the behavior that the politicians in Guyana behave, we really have to improve, because again, we can't have a growing environment. Only the environment is changing, because like our friend Stacy on the comments is saying she visits Guyana is nice, but certain things definitely need improvement. And this is where we have to, as a people, we have to nudge our government in the way. Listen, people coming in and they're making these comments about our service sector, our entertainment sector. Certain sectors need to be looked at and improved. Simple.
All right. So there's a statement that came out with what's his name? Where the VP was actually touting that it's a conflict of interest
Uh-huh.
because of the newly elected AFC leader.
Leader Nigel Hughes.
Right.
Correct. Mhm.
Their statement came out from I think it's God Mosley, stating that the maintaining excellent mobile Guyana abides by the laws and regulations of the country.
Mhm.
President and the CEO of the company, Alistair Rudd. We know what her name is. Anyway,
Femeki.
today ruled
Mhm.
out any issue of there being any conflict of interest emerging from ExxonMobil relationship with the Hughes, Fields, and Stobie law firm.
But it is
Now
not
that
Exxon's
now
place.
that one of the partners in that firm has been elected leader of a political party, so he's confirming that they they would not, and they don't see no conflict of interest coming their way. So I guess that's something that instead, like I said, being matured enough as a politician, you know what I mean? Um, where would you supposed to come out? You don't have to say see wrong where wrong is, or maybe I might be wrong if I'm trying to say it. But
Mhm.
I as a politician would have first of all come out and I would make sure that I congratulate somebody that's being elected on a major party, and then eventually do my homework and figure out if this thing makes sense to just throw it out there as I tout it out, like make a lot of noise, wherewith it really might not find no grounds.
And you're talking
What
about
else?
you're talking about the Exxon situation here, right?
Yeah, because the CEO came out and said that he don't see no
Well, the
there's no
CEO of
way that it's gonna
Exxon.
be
Okay, all right. Let me just say this really
of any
quickly,
conflict
Sure.
of interest.
The
Yeah.
CEO of Exxon could say anything.
Mm-hmm.
The CEO of Exxon could say anything.
He's
He is not a
securing his
member.
business.
He's securing his business. His interest is the oil rig and his company. His interests
Right.
are not the growth of Guyanese and all of that. They're
So
not interested
where
in
you
that.
see the conflict of interest coming in? Let's discuss that
No,
a little bit
no.
quick.
All right. Now let's go to first. We noticed the vice president for one, since the election of Nigel Hughes, he has a lot to say. So let's
Mm-hmm.
go to one of his Facebook posts from his page, Martin. Let's bring that up where he's referencing some information on the AFC now elected leader Nigel Hughes.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let me get that a little bigger so I can get to see. Okay, so Vice President Jagdeo knocks Exxon over no conflict of interest position with AFC's Hughes. Posted by Dean Dennis Cabral in the Business News Politics Tuesday, the 9th of July 2024 at 4:25. Well, not the last updates. Vice President Barrett Jagdeo on Tuesday said he was unsurprised that President of Exxon Mobil Guyana, Alistair Routledge, says that there was no conflict of interest between attorney at law Nigel Hughes and the American super major. Right now, and I quote: "There was no surprise. It was no surprise that the representatives of the Exxon took the position that Nigel Hughes is not in conflict with ExxonMobil," Mr. Jagdeo told Demerara Wales Online News. All right. Now, we know for a fact, and this is for the people who actually read and pay attention to what's happening in the political sphere. Hughes, Fields, and Stobie, yes, is hired to represent the company. However, um, although Nigel said that he was not involved with Exxon, and Exxon is now trying to say they were not involved with Nigel Hughes as for legal, how is there a video from the CCJ when there was their court hearing there that Nigel and another gentleman was representing Exxon?
There could be a one-time case, you know.
That may be the problem exactly. Now, me as a small-time businessman, I have my lawyers on retainer. Yes, I man. And retainer for the average Joe is at any given time, I can call on my lawyer
Mm-hmm.
and he or she will be present to represent me at any given time, no
Mm-hmm.
matter what. Right? Now, the thing with that is, are you not going to do that with a top shot lawyer from the booming country that you're in, given the type of business that is being run? Because Exxon have lawyers on retainers in America, in the UK, and every other parts that they put down their drill.
Exactly.
It is impossible that you don't.
Mm-hmm.
You understand me? If a small man like me could do it, and I barely could afford it, imagine them who drilling hell. So that's the first problem.
A
The
company
second
with
thing is
over 200 years of experience in the oil industry.
big kings. The second thing is, now if you're my lawyer, there is a aspect whereby whatever we do, you can say whatever I say to you,
It's
you can
confidential.
repeat it,
It's
right?
confidential.
I could legitimately murder somebody and tell you can't go and say it
No, you
because
can't.
that would put your license in jeopardy.
Exactly.
So now you have to hold up the posture of what lawyers go by, right?
My question, right?
Mhm.
Um, ever since that ExxonMobil is in Guyana, has the government has had any major issues against them concerning towards the country,
Which government?
the present government?
There was the EPA issue, the Environmental Protection Agency issue.
That which always existed from day
That's
one.
an issue.
Yeah.
That's an issue that was took to court by a private citizen. That was not the government that took them to court.
The
That was a
the
private
the
citizen that took
EPA
them to
thing?
court.
The
Yep.
EPA?
No,
Yeah.
that was the head of the EPA, if I'm
That's the head of
correct.
the EPA. That's the
The
head of the
head
Correct.
of the
EPA.
EPA
And
took the
and
government
of
to court.
course,
And yeah.
and that's where I think that was not a government because Jack Deere actually separated himself in a conversation.
Jaggy always separated himself,
The
brother.
VP actually separated himself in the conversation and saying that is not the government, that is a private entity, and that's what they're doing.
Because a lot of the issues that popped up with
Politics.
the contract showing, it's tantamount to what is happening now. The Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sport is responsible for the Durban part. But in order to create a Facebook meme for laughs and jokes, they will leave it to rotten so that Charles Ramson could take a picture and say, this is the legacy of the last government, but it is still under your ministry. And never mind, it was created by the last government. It may have been a wood elephant. I don't want to call it a white elephant. It's a wood elephant. Guys, one said a wood. But they still have the obligation to maintain that structure in the
Mm.
city. All right. So making a meme, and it's tantamount to what I was talking about earlier with the situation with Jagdale. This is the kind of thing that we see happening. Instead of saying, okay, let's handle this situation, the political parties will use those things as opportunity to further their agenda, to further their political message. Well, you see, we told you don't do it with them, do it with us. Look what they did. But your
Because
job
that's
is
what I'm
still to
saying.
maintain whatever was built. It's still our
There
taxpayers'
is
dollars, isn't it?
there is so many instances. We see so many videos and so many different tapes and all of that, right? That you
Mhm.
could say that while there were concerns being addressed or being asked or addressed to the VP
Mhm.
concerning Exxon, he was more on the side of saying this is what you should understand and this is what you have to understand, and this is not, because it was more in protection of what they're having with Exxon. Now you telling me conflict of interest comes down to the same thing that you're doing all the time and still did not show in no way that you have any issue against ExxonMobil and what they're doing.
Anybody's get
Okay.
issue when they get in pain, so
Now, Sherwin, one of the things
Bro,
you have
I
to
don't know what
understand.
the part, but
no, no, no,
One
no,
of the
no,
things.
no. It's a simple question, right? Do you have an issue when you go to work and you get paid on a time, before time, and all of these things?
man,
No,
Is
no.
yes or no?
Listen, Sherwin. One of the things that you got to understand with our politics in Ghana, right?
it's crazy.
In order to make here how we work the thing. When I win, I gotta make everything you do look like it was total poop.
Mm-hmm.
When the other person win and I come back in, I want everything you do look like poop.
But it's all in
All right.
because people, at the end of the day, how can you relate to the people in such a way that
This
you
is why
that
this is why we have remained stagnant for a very long time.
you cannot
Development,
relate?
real development happens when the baton in the relay race goes
It's fast.
forward.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
It got passed. Whether it's from, okay, in the case of politics, whether it is from this team to the next team, a forward trajectory has got to always be kept.
Mm-hmm.
All
Because
right.
there is a trajectory that actually everybody went to Parliament, fight on this whole issue. We all say, okay, we understand that y'all win. But of course, there is a projected plan that we have from now to this amount of years. This is what we want to make sure. So if even you leave the project halfway, or these people in this area here, this is what is needed because there's a part of the whole plan. I come in and make sure that I finish it up because
Exactly.
it's the people money.
Is it the government? Is the Guyanese people money?
It's the
And
people money.
this is the thing that I want all Guyanese to understand. Not because of party switch and all the, and you see certain things, projects left behind, buildings left derelict, things left to
That ain't
run down.
supposed to happen.
That's not supposed to happen because it's
all
your
ignorance.
money, it's our money, it's our Guyanese
Everybody
people
should
money who
benefit
working
from it.
hard. Because that Durban Park area should be in
That
such a
should have
state
been a
that
so
people
well
could go
developed
and
area.
exercise, people could go play their football,
I was
all
telling
of that.
that they could have continued enhance
Bro,
better
that is
to
a
show.
den for junkie
But they're
and
saying
homeless
that
people
that's
right
the
now.
show. You could have come and do something to show that they did something that was not making sense. We're gonna show you that this is what we
How it's
have you
supposed to
guys
be
at
done.
heart, how it's supposed to be, how it should have been. Now, when they put it like that now, right away, you win the whole everybody like what?
We
brother,
don't like competition, Maji.
this thing is so petty. When APNU went in the other day, they changed the sports hall. Do you know when the PPP come in now? Although we know yes, bigger infrastructure and thing, it's another change again. You know that? The gymnasium was changed again.
Well,
They
I
fixed it up,
think
spruce it up
yeah,
again.
no, I think it needed this change because
No, it
from what we're
needed
looking like,
right. It
yeah,
needed all them things. But what was APNU doing? That's what I'm saying. They've been in there. Certain
sharing
things
the
they
money.
change.
They
Then
were
certain
sharing the
things
money around, brother.
amongst themselves.
We know how the contracts work, right?
Amongst themselves.
Of
No.
course. 'Cause remember his cousin and friend and everybody else who we know getting the jobs, just like everybody complaining right now. Oh, the contracts that government giving out, we ain't getting.
But you understand the funniest thing about Guyana, right, is that we have several people from around the world who have contracts in Guyana,
Mm-hmm.
infrastructural contracts, right? But the one and only person that Guyanese would zoom in on and views to glory because he gets a contract is critic. That's the
One guy
funniest thing,
needs.
bro. One Guyanese, one. They got Trinidadians, people from all over the Caribbean, Americans, everybody they here, right? Getting contracts, doing business, building places, setting up road. I mean, Japas and all doing roads too and all that, right? But you don't hear about, you don't hear people saying, "Is why they give these people a contract." All right. But it's the funniest thing. A Guyanese get one. I was thinking about this thing and I was like, wow, Guyanese amazing.
I
A
mean, of course,
Guyanese get a big one.
it is traded as pettiness because of he's a high profile person and the people that he used to deal with, which got themselves in very much hot water.
That's
So
sanctioned.
certain things are being propelled on a higher level, right?
Yeah.
Especially when you get money.
I ain't gonna
But at
sit
the
on it
same
'cause I
time,
don't know. I don't know the depth of the individual of his capabilities and all of that. And I think that I mean, whoever knows can speak because normally noise is easy to listen to and just pick up and start making more noise.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And I don't think that one of the things that we do well in GT is just one person gotta make some noise and then everybody start picking it up and just
No, but the noise
keep
don't make
making
sense,
noise.
Sherwin. Here was the funny thing with this. They don't understand when you were doing a bid for a contract, right? You couldn't be a layman. You have to understand the architecture of whatever structure they're asking you to construct. So obviously, the critic has individuals who know them work.
mhm,
He doesn't have to know the work. He could be the chairman of the board, and everybody else could be the brain.
That is how business is
That is
supposed to
how
be. Right?
business does
Well,
work. You
that's
think?
how
Hold on.
that's how some
You-
contractors work.
No, that's how all this work.
Yeah.
You think Jeff Bezos know how Amazon is really run from top to bottom? No.
Nah,
You
the,
think
the
exactly?
smart
So
heads are down there.
these our people in Guyana, right, seem to be so uneducated when they say certain things online. For example, he qualified for get a contract. How you disqualify
Hmm.
when he qualified through a bidding system? That's how you get a contract. A government can't come out and say, well, give the banner there a contract, because he's a good banner to
Well,
me.
there was a lot of scrutiny that everybody been pointing out. Well, we same thing is noise again. I'm not sure of the real thing if it's really facts or whatever. But there's a lot of things that there's the bids are now reaching to the for everybody to bid across the board.
Look,
So let me
Blah.
it's not fluff. Not fluff.
let me help out, right? The bids can reach to the regular man if the regular man is going to bid for a $3.5 million contract and don't have $3.5 million in the bank to back it up.
How we getting it really? They don't
Yes, I
understand business, Sherwin.
Outside
They
of having
believe that a man should
3.5,
be able to get access $1 billion contract with zero money in the bank book.
you need at least 75%. It's just like we get into radio. We know we got to get we earphones, we got to get we control board, we got to get we licensing of music. We know we have to do these things.
This is
Yeah.
how you succeed in it. It's the same way in other businesses. You gotta get the things you need to succeed. You can't say, well, the man supposed to just say, well, it can happen and it's happening. We too accustomed to that kind of nonsense, and now the reality has hit home that it doesn't work that way. People kind of
Mhm.
shocked, like, wow, is that so it's working with you? No, it's not so.
Yo.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean-
time is winding down, man. See that?
Yeah. I tell you, quick.
Conversation is always kicking into gear when it's almost that time.
Yeah, I'm telling you. But just before we leave, just before we wrap it up, there was one more aspect to the this is the statements and stuff that the vice president is putting out
Conflict of
about
interest.
on the conflict of interest with Nigel Hughes. Some people are saying online that maybe the VP is feeling threatened that now an intelligent guy is in the race. Well, just before I close out, let me give my opinion on that. First things first, I don't know if they do think that the AFC exists in what voters, because you had an issue where even in the AFC there was an issue. Sharon didn't really want Nigel,
Mm.
so that was an issue in them, and we know what's going on with the PNC and they who was squabbling. So we know for a fact AFC's base really was depending on Nagamutu, Ramjitan, and Sharon Das to really drive the Indian voters in Berbice.
Mm.
Now, one of those people out, Sharon Das, Ramjitan, and Nagamutu can't catapult nobody to vote for AFC. All right? A matter of fact, they have done Nagamutu as they don't know. The Nin Makaram in Berbice. He's a Nin Makaram.
What that mean?
he ain't
You,
got
you
no
gotta break
clout.
that down. Hold on. You
Well,
gotta break it down.
No, well, I gotta leave the audience in a bit of suspense. I like people go and do some research. He's a Nin Makaram and he own people them go wrong. Right? So he ain't got no clout. So I don't know what they're talking about. And when it comes to Georgetown, we all know that we buy from Bam Bam Ali run things when it comes to the group of people in Georgetown. So where is Nigel getting support? From the few people that he helped, pro bono?
So I believe, right? The fact that Nigel is running or the AFC is in the race,
Mm-hmm.
separately from the PNC,
Mm-hmm.
I do believe because people would have lost confidence in the PNC over time.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody now, or the colored skin people is going to run over on the other side with Nigel because, we look alike. So we could
Mm-hmm.
actually we could support he, and then we can beg a favor later on. It is possible because he have
You
done a
got
lot
kind
of
of
pro
you got
boners.
isolate that dynamic there. You need to mention that is middle class. The
But
middle class red people them gonna run over with he. You mean?
no, the black people guy with the money.
No, it ain't gonna happen. So the black people them they will go
I
buy from Bam Bam.
I don't believe the Lindoners
Mm-hmm.
and the people with some type of brain. Because me, if I'm voting, I obviously can't vote for Norton.
Bro, but they
And
got people. They have people with brain who voting for Norton. James
w-
Bond going with Norton.
which people with brain, buddy?
James
You,
ain't
you
got
see,
brain.
when we say certain things, we need to. Now, which
Bro,
people with brain?
Linden going with him, man. Georgetown going with him, man. Which can cause some problems for any other person like Nigel coming into the game. Nigel is
Mm,
pretty new in the political leadership aspect of it. Nothing about a while. He is a seasoned soldier in the
mm-hmm,
business. Bamba Mali, they about long, Bamba Mali, they about since Forbes time. Come all the way now. It's not now Bamba Mali they about. So Bamba Mali now has a lot more clout and a lot more political power than Nigel have. All right. Now, one
mm,
of the things they need to make a decision, and this is what we were discussing, is that is either people people are saying they should put Nigel, but we know based on the topic we had on radio today, which was paranoid, um, something personalities, right? I'm forgetting the middle word. But if you have in the individual who has that type of personality type, he's not gonna concede or he's not gonna give or hand over power or
mm-hmm.
leadership to another individual. So hence we gonna have stagnation regardless of whether no matter how big those individuals try to talk up the thing, oh, Nigel and them gonna come together. We all know that is a bundle
Yeah,
of
that
wit.
not happen.
That's not gonna happen. Those individuals have too much ego. They are too narcissistic to understand the issue at hand. Because if they did, they wouldn't have the scattering that was happening in the first place. They wouldn't have had that bickering that was going on in Congress place in the first place. Now, if the PPP could send a letter to Selwyn Peters, who is an obvious PNCR diehard, and bring him as an observer to their Congress election, show me where Norton say send a letter to a PPP guy and says, like, let's say Sis Gun Raja, one of them guys from GCOM, and say, come over and take a look, observe our Congress and see what's going on. It's like one side are a group of people who are aspiring to be professionals in what they're doing, and the other side, they don't know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm. It's proven.
They're
I,
just running wrong.
so well, my point is, I just believe that the one side is very or understand leadership, understand who they want to give that respect as a leader, and from the start, and also at the same time, you know, the encouragement to the people of the country, who have the power, is just to make sure you sit down and analyze who's making more sense, because there's gonna be everybody's gonna have their own shortcomings, but who's making more sense at present, and who
Mm-hmm.
you think might be able to keep you afloat or get you to be even more the country to reach a next level that you can actually you know benefit from everything that's happening and going on, what I mean, and put it there,
Yeah.
let them go for it, because sometimes you just you know sometimes putting yourself in a position where you want to fight against the tide, and then you get people get angry, people get bitter, and then you go down the lane where you want to be, in that kind of mode that you're not happy at all, even to grab the opportunities that might be lurking around or that
Yeah,
might be
that
coming at
present
you
themselves. Yeah, people
because you're
not
not
taking those.
happy and because you're just trying to be bitter against who is in power. I think
Mhm.
everything that's happening in the country is a part of what we all supposed to benefit from.
Yep.
Um, Leaders is gonna be might be in a sense of saying, "Oh, it looks as though they're weighing the balance on a different side, more than one
Mhm.
side." But there is people that put them in that convincing spot where they have to, you
Mhm.
know, listen. I have everything that it takes, and now that we got social media, I could take it to the next level. So they get kind of concerned with these type of moves and all of that. And so they deal with people on a level, or maybe give you the opportunity and then you roll from there. So everything that's happening, just make sure you grab the opportunities because it's there for every one of us. Um,
Mhm.
I think what happened is that the country's policies and structure and all the things that has to be done as per government, that's something that we all gotta put them in that pressure to make them reach to that place to say, you know what, we can't run away from this no more. We gotta make sure we do what we gotta do. But you know, that's what it is for now.
That's what it is. Martin.
Well, we as a people, and I say we as a people because I'm on the ground, I'm born Guyanese, and I always will want to continue to remain a Guyanese, even if I give up my passport or I lost it. Right?
Stay true,
We as
patriot.
Yes, sir. We as a people need to understand what we want, right? I always encourage people to be greedy, be selfish. If Ali, Jagdio, anybody coming out and say, well, I giving you this and come take it, you're benefiting. If
Correct.
Nigel coming out and say, well, I giving you this, you take it. You're benefiting. Giving is something you want.
Well,
Don't let people
he would be saying he giving you this in a manifesto, no, because he now turned the leader of a party, so he has to give us
exactly. So
what he
that
is
is what
doing.
we're looking for. Bare
Yeah,
manifestos and
yeah.
then think that is gonna actually play out because people do put forward manifesto and then they ain't got nothing
No, but you
inside.
gotta hold them. You gotta make sure you hold them responsible towards that. A lot of them they try to run away from it. You gotta remind them.
The previous government had an entire manifesto and they ran government for 5 years and we ain't
They
get
do what they
nothing.
want. They do what they want.
Decide me. We ain't get
They
nothing.
do what they want.
So we as the people need to know well if you say you're gonna do this, we want we think. No. Obviously it can't happen now, but road, if you know you're in Sapphire and you need a road to your street, you go demand road. It is your right.
Road.
Yes, right, man. Food, light, water, everything else in between. We go demand it. Proper
Malachi is the
jobs.
road.
Teachers come out and strike. Everything that we actually need, we go demand it.
So
And
then
you
what you
will
gotta do?
actually get the answer.
Block the street so nothing can come and say the road bad.
Well,
You can't drive in.
Well, I don't
it's not
support
about
the aspect
blocking.
of blacking the street.
They ain't
There's
blocking
like,
no streets, bro.
yeah, there's the little cockroach
So
mentality.
how you
There's
gonna
a
You go
get?
by
cockroach
Freedom
mentality.
House.
How do you get them to do the road?
You
Because
go by Freedom
seriously,
House. You show up at office of the president with your picket.
Yep. And the
You
way
know
the
what's the most
government is.
embarrassing thing?
Mhm.
The president, the vice president, anybody in government, even the opposition, wouldn't want 1,000 people in front of the office making noise on social media.
that makes sense.
You understand?
But 5 and 6, no sir. And that's
Exactly.
what the problem is. Only 5 and 6 is roll up.
That's what we can't have. Yes,
Only
so
five and
That
six
that
is
is
roll
where
up.
we need to change.
and that
That
is
is where we
where
need to change.
that is where we need to change. And again, to the creatives, we gotta hit the politicians 2025 if you're gonna have the IP laws to benefit the artists, the creatives, the filmmakers. all these people that are the creatives that don't do construction
Right.
and don't do infrastructural building, we need IP laws. We got to wrap it
Well-
up for this evening. Before we do, Sherwin, deal with the disclaimer.
Yes. Okay, the views, information, or opinion expressed during this program are solely those of the host, guests, and callers involved in the program and do not necessarily represent the views of Majestic Music Radio, its management, and other hosts or advertisers. Majestic Music Radio is not responsible and does not verify for accuracy to any of the information contained in this radio program. This program does not constitute medical or professional advice and is solely for for entertainment purpose only. All right. So, guys, we give our opinions. We would normally give you layman street kind of advice and all these different things. And of course, we put two and two together with your little research and all these different things. Well, you know, eventually we are factual on a lot of stuff that we might be saying, and also at the same time giving some of our opinions in between personally. So with all of that, put it together, and of course,
Think about it.
get knowledgeable.
Yeah, man.
As it is said, let's Google it.
Google it.
Google
Make sure you check us out.
That could be very
No,
Can
no,
be
it's, no, it's
verified on
AI,
Google.
bro. AI beat
Yeah.
AI.
All right.
telling you,
AI
come
trashing
on.
out Google.
Yeah.
All right.
Switch.
All right. Make sure you check us out each and every Tuesday, right here on Majestic Music Radio. I like to say from 7:30-ish to 8. We'll
Yeah.
be on. Again, we're working, guys, so you know everybody got a different schedule. Some days we might be on time, some days we might be just a couple of minutes off. Make sure you let your friends know. Every Tuesday, the conversation. Check us out tomorrow
Right.
Mhm.
on Majestic Music Radio in the morning from 8 to 11. You don't know how we do it. The rush hour. where
Yeah,
you
go
got
to the App
Strictly
Store.
GT.
Go to the
Yeah.
App Store, Google Play Store, and download the app so you can get the program. You can actually go to TuneIn Radio also. And as you see the word Majestic, just the same way you spell it, you put in that in the search and make sure you pull up and make it your favorite station in TuneIn Radio also. All right.
Yeah.
So that's what it is, man.
Hope you have a
I
great
think we should
evening.
also let the people know, just in case, right?
Mm.
And just to make sure, if you do download the Majestic Music Radio app, there's a couple incentive, right? Some couple updates that you receive ahead of time.
Correct.
You understand me? So unlike waiting on the website or waiting on social media for the program start, if you're in the app, you see things faster, you hear things better, and
Yeah.
you know, you win tickets to events, you know, for
Yeah.
artists and these sort of things. So
Definitely.
Yeah.
you could benefit by downloading.
Summer gonna be a hot summer for Majestic.
Mhm.
So stay tuned. Yeah, people.
Yes.
Bless up.
Yes,
Respect. all.
sir. One
Yeah,
night.
man.
One love.
Ooh, go so with your badness. We know you not slackness. This a Rasta business. Ooh, run come give me the roots and culture. Chase them vulture. Ooh, go so with your badness. We know you not slackness. This a Rasta business. Ooh, run come give me the roots and culture. Bun bam. Ooh. Go so with your badness. We know you not slackness. This a Rasta business. Ooh, run come give me the roots and culture. Chase them vulture. Ooh, go so with your badness. We know you not slackness. This a Rasta business. Ooh, run come give me the roots and culture. Bun vampire entire.
It's passion. Give me. Alright. I love to feel your body when it's close to mine. When you and I become as one, it sends a thrill to me when we move to the melody. Come on and
it catch a fire. Tell you what I want. When they get to you, them try fi better, and the system try fi turn them in a shatter. Tell you what I want. One Babylon, highly Selassie rain down, lightning and thunder. Tell you what I want. Tell you what I want. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Stars among stars. We, lights, camera, someone.